Okay, hope everybody's doing okay, and welcome to another Trading Spaces. Today we're talking with NFAi or NFA Labs, and we're discussing their machine learning or neural net trading algorithms and how they built them. But first, we're going to go into a few crypto updates. One thing I think that maybe some of the people here have heard that the team and the foundation have decided to lock up the majority of the tokens which are supposed on stake in early February. So I guess that's a generally positive thing to hear. I know a few people were upset that the conversation hadn't occurred in a different way. So we can talk about that later if we want to. Let's see. Yesterday, the markets were up. Ethereum was up at about 1640. Doodle said that it acquired an animation studio, Golden Wolf, and was launching a new joint venture called Active Ingredient. And SEC and the U.S. Attorney's Office are listed as one of the creditors for Genesis. MakerDAO deployment of 100 million USDC on DeFi protocol Yearn, and 2% annual income from deposits in USDC. Gemini announced they're cutting 10% of their staff in a third round of layoffs. Osmosis initiated a proposal to change token economics and automatically pledge mining rewards to their holders. The floor of the floor price, the portion of T on secondary market fell below minimum price. Ton validators voted to suspend 195 inactive addresses holding 2.5 billion in Toncoin, and ChatGPT creator OpenAI signed a multi-year billion-dollar investment with Microsoft. Down a little bit, we have Bitcoin at I believe 2250 or so, Ethereum at 1550. Passed a vote to ease crypto licensing regulation. Celsius is planning on reorganization. The Central Bank of Saudi Arabia is launching an experiment with the CBDC. Sushi has voted to receive $8.2 million sushi, about $11 million worth, originally offered as LP rewards. The UK Treasury is looking for a CBDC head as it explores development of a digital pound. Prosecutors seized around $50 million from SBF's account at the Farmington State Bank account after he stated he only had $100,000 in liquid assets. Swiss Cité Gestion became the first private bank to tokenize its shares. Congratulations on that. Roger Ver has been summoned to court by Genesis for failing to settle a $20 million outstanding loan for crypto options. All right, let's get into it. So, user NFAi Labs, you are a protocol or a trading desk, as it were, that's basically running on a machine learning or a neural net type of can you kind of go into what you're doing, how you're doing it, and what you do generally? Is that like a really poor summation of what you do, or how would you
No, I
describe
think,
in your own terms?
yeah, no, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Our focus is on the use of a neural net. Neural nets, as you already know, have been around. The concept was like it's a 7-year-old concept. Basically, it's the use of algorithms to model the human brain. And so what we've kind of done here, the reason we went with that approach is, we had kind of like an academic approach to this question to see if a neural net would be feasible within the crypto market. And there's a lot of research that's been done within the stock market on the use of neural nets. There's one particular study that we love and we circulate around the team a lot, and done by a team of North American and European universities. And basically, what they did, they were able to achieve accuracy of about 96%, 86 to 96%, depending on the amount of variables within the neural net, on a 2-year back test of stock data. So basically, what we did is we, jumped off of that and started deploying this to the stock market, or to the crypto market. Sorry.
Okay, so I know neural nets. My father actually was a flight control officer or a flight control designer for
Cool.
the defense contractors. So he worked with
Cool. Cool.
unmanned air vehicles, unmanned combat vehicles, air vehicles, and so he kind of gave me a summation of what neural nets do early
Hmm.
on when Tesla was building out their infrastructure for their automated driving systems.
Hmm.
Um, as you know, and we can kind of get into this, and I have a whole other slew of questions.
Yep.
You can take a model and you can basically run it until you get the outputs that you're looking for, and then you can
Hmm.
freeze it and kind of use it within some boundary threshold. Is that something
Hmm.
like what you're doing, or how do you
Yes,
how do
that's
you
that.
actually get this?
Yeah, that's exactly how the back testing that we do works. So what we call it is our our testing period. So and then our horizon. So in our case, what we try to do is we have for instance, if say within the 2 year data set, you break it up into quarters, right? So you have it run 3 quarters of machine learning and analysis, and then your back test is on the last quarter, which is your quote unquote horizon. And your horizon should give you an idea of how it should work in live. And so you do that over and over again, continuously tweaking the neural net itself. What we tend to use is what's called the stochastic gradient method, which right now we do it manually, which is very very slow. But the idea is that once the AI is up and running, it's able to use code to do this in seconds as opposed to hours.
That makes sense. I don't understand some of the technicals, but I understand
Mhm.
generally. Um, I guess the overarching kind of zeitgeist of what you're doing.
Of course,
I
yeah.
guess you have to be really.
I can send you. I'm going to send you some stuff afterwards too if you're just interested in learning about it. I think everyone should
Yeah,
have
I
an
am
understanding of
actually.
how these
So
things
I
work.
looked at
Yeah,
your white
I'll.
paper. Your white paper is
Yeah.
more for like the consumer versus
Hmm.
someone who would be exploring the tech behind what
Exactly.
you're doing. But I know that there's like a really deep technical side to what you're doing, like your protocol, and it's almost like the deeper element of the whole thing, actually. And you guys are full of talent, and like you have a lot of brain power behind you, which is actually
Hmm.
pretty interesting when you look into it. So
Exactly.
yeah, so you guys have a neural network that's using a back-tested set of data. How does something like efficient market hypothesis inform your trading strategy?
Yeah, of course. So for those that don't know, efficient market hypothesis basically says that price reflects all data in the market. So that kind of feeds into the reasoning behind us moving into kind of like a DAO structure. Our whole goal is to create this AI and then have it be controlled in some way by a DAO later on in our phase three. So the reason why we went with this is because if you do if you look at any sort of machine learning algo, or if you yourself you're listening to this call, I know some of the guys within dYdX run their own machine learning algos. The issue is that yes, you can do pattern analysis, but what's missing is what's called the sentiment analysis, and that's something that there's a lot of different ways to kind of skin the cat. Some people do sentiment scores, some people have other methodology that they use. But what we found is that based on EMH, the if we have say 10,000 people within a DAO, and we're able to tell have them guide Athena's decisions on a macro levels, say should it be a bullish outlook, should it be a bearish outlook, or should it be a neutral bias, whatever it is. If the more people that are within the DAO, the closer uh, the price prediction reflects all market data. Does that make sense?
Does make a lot of sense. Now, are you back testing this and then using the members of the DAO as like a secondary confirmation bias to
Yes. So we
okay.
haven't the DAO hasn't been built yet. So because of that, what we're doing is we want to have we have our MVP. We've been doing our live tests. With small amounts of money, we had one live test that we just closed that did a 6x over a 7 day period. But what we're trying to do is we have our internal dashboard and then our public facing dashboard, which would allow that DAO component to come in. So that's not live yet, but that is our end goal.
Makes sense. Can you kind of go into more detail about how the collaboration and the innovation between you and the DAO really to 10x your trading protocol? Like how much of it is the neural network? How much of it will be the DAO? Is the
Yep.
human component really critical to fine tuning the model or getting that final output?
And that's something that's remains to be seen. For us right now, we've only been focused on performance on the net and getting that ready. But our hypothesis is that we could probably beat, hopefully, the scores that were done by these studies within the equities market without humans adding sentiment analysis to it. we think that, that is that missing piece to maybe give us a little bit of an edge over any other neural net that's out there.
So I'm really curious to see what you end up with.
Exactly.
Um,
It's a
you
cool
know,
experiment, man. Very cool experiment.
yeah, it is a really cool experiment. There was a study done, and they basically tracked the I don't know, alpha wave patterns of people who
Hmm.
were looking at a chart, and it
Hmm.
wasn't like what they would tell you they were thinking about the chart. Just using that waveform, they could
Hmm.
predict with like a really amazing certainty, or not certainty, but a really amazing probability what that stock would do in the near future. And so, like,
Exactly.
even though someone might say they're bullish or bearish, like, just looking at their actual like first impulse, it was a very clear indicator. It's actually really amazing.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I stumbled upon that study, and then that's part of the reason that inspired too this need for that DAO is because that that portion is what kind of separates a human trader from a robot trader. Robot traders, not every robot trader does well. You know what I mean? Not every AI does well, but it's the type of the level of human interaction, the type of human interaction with the AI that makes it have that extra edge. You know, whether it's you have a very experienced trading team that is constantly looking and advising or the general macro sentiment. AIs we're getting there with the technology, but it's hard to feed in, for instance, every single news source or even trend searches within Google or just to get what's the the pulse of the zeitgeist is, right, and put that into a quantitative form and then add it to the algo. It's very very hard to do that. So
Sense.
with decentralization, it presents a unique opportunity that wasn't there before, and the decentralization allows us to get a pulse in that sentiment analysis in a way that can guide the algo's decisions at a macro level. Are we this quarter? Do we think that we're bullish, or this week? Do we think that we're bullish? We're going to be structuring how the DAO and how quickly the DAO can put up proposals and changes and votes basically. But that missing piece is what takes your machine learning or your neural net to the next level. So you have basically a brain that is encompassing thousands of smaller brains, right? It's a really cool thing that we're trying to do here.
Like alpha testing using people alongside the models, or is this kind of still at the theoretical stage?
No, we've been we've had human interaction. I mean, I personally perform a lot of the stochastic gradients with a couple other guys. And but the thing is that when you're fine tuning, you've got 30 plus variables going on. Uh, Going through and optimizing the priority scores for each variable takes hours, like absolute hours. And I think that most of the studies that use an AI code to do this, they were able to do that in seconds, right? So imagine being able to do that on if we were able to do that at every couple of minutes, and do that calculation every couple of minutes, then we would be faster and smarter than most on the street.
Okay. Uh, kind of give us an overview of your developmental roadmap so far, and maybe some of the upcoming milestones you have.
Yeah, of course. So we launched, I think, was it a week or so ago? We had a great launch. We're trending. Got a little community together that's pretty strong in sharing ideas, which is great. Right now, on the development side, we've basically taken our MVP now. We're using the funds that we've kind of collected through our launch, and we are kind of going straight for that final product. We thought we were going to have a more of a quiet launch, given the complicated nature of what we're trying to do. But it seems that a lot of people are very, very interested. So, thanks to that, their support, we're able to kind of push forward a little bit faster. So at this point, we've got UX and UI stuff that we've got to get done. So your front end, just so that people could watch and participate in what Athena is doing, our algo. And then on top of that, we of course have to get things like audited and whatnot for our upcoming staking protocol, because the idea of this is that if Athena is out there winning trades, and collecting funds, then they should be shared with the individuals that supported the project. So we have to have our staking method outlined and also audited, of course, before anyone can connect their wallets and whatnot to it, just for safety reasons. And yeah, so we're pushing through phase one, full court press.
Awesome, that's really cool. Athena working? Is Athena actually like? Is it bringing home the bacon at this point? Is it
Absolutely.
successfully trading?
Absolutely. And so we've been doing, Athena wasn't doing so well, I'd say months ago. But the last 2 to 3 live tests were great. Hasn't won any hedgies yet. So one day we'll get a hedgie, but, we did get, top finishes in bronze and silver. And that we're pretty proud of. But yeah, we no hedgies yet, but one day that's our goal.
Faith in you. And it's actually difficult to get a hedgie.
Yeah, right.
It's a
Yep.
really competitive group of people. So
Yeah, you guys are the best of the best, and so we want to compete amongst the best.
we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Hmm.
Can you kind of go into more detail, like how Athena does what it does to kind of help you in your trading decision? Because like you have the neural net, we know it's making advantageous trades using
Hmm.
the backtest and market data. It's not
Yep.
really using people at this point to kind of to peer review or peer test. But what is it doing kind of more specifically to make those decisions?
Yeah, of course. So once Athena basically gets a long or short signal, it's executed in the background through your JSON kind of protocol, right? So it's we have a specific syntax that we use that we follow the guidelines of the dYdX GitHub. And what it does, and again, the algo traders here know exactly how that works. So within the the Git, you're able to see that on dYdX, you're able to present short, long, limit trades, market trades, et cetera, et cetera. At this point, I think we're just doing market trades just to be able to quickly get in and get out. But we have our parameters set, for instance, on stop losses, take profit, all of that stuff that we optimize to optimize the back test. So once Athena makes a decision, it's executed instantly, whether we're awake or not. And we what we're trying to do at this point is we do kind of like a daily, then we're moving on to weekly reviews. Then once we are able to have Athena run for maybe a 2 to 3 week period, then we'd say, okay, we're ready to go. And that's what we're working towards. With 2 to 3 weeks, no human interaction, no stochastic gradient backtesting type stuff.
Like it's very interesting that you're doing this because this is like high frequency trading basically is what I'm kind of thinking. And I was gonna ask, are you guys scalping? Are you swing trading? Are you looking at
Uh, we're
HGF
we're
like?
we're more swing. The thing about when it comes to high frequency trading is that API calls and that whatnot. You have to have a lot of size to do like 1 second, 15 second, whatever trades. What right now I think we're focused on kind of the hourly and the 15 candles. We find that the results that we've been getting have been optimized on both. Beyond lower than 15, not really interested in that at this point. But if we start to conquer the 15, I think we'll keep moving lower.
Awesome, very cool. I guess the AI, how does it really set you apart? I know there's a lot of algorithmic trading desks. Does the AI really give you a strong leg up, or could you do this with someone sitting at a desk somewhere, or is there a real advantage to doing it algorithmically using the neural net versus doing it algorithmically with just a set Python script?
Yeah, no, of course. So here's the thing about a neural net is what's really cool is that so if you're using a regular machine learning or even just a regular Python script that's just doing say long short signals on we'll say moving average, right? You can feed multiple scripts into a neural net. So you can say, okay, we've got signals from a moving average Python script already fed in. We've got something on RSI put in. We've got something on VWAP put in, and you keep adding these what they're called the input nodes, and you just keep adding these nodes, and then you prioritize each of these, say machine learning or indicator scores, and you once you prioritize the AI itself decides just like a human would that's looking at a screen, looking at all of these exotic signals in front of them, decides will I go long or short, and that's what every human being does. So that's why we went with a neural network because we want to have that human aspect to it. Quasi human. It's not really human, but we wanted to think like a human being. That way we can scale up where it now thinks like thousands of human beings as opposed to just one, because then we go back to our EMH hypothesis: price reflects all data in the market. So the best way is to have something that encompasses all of the decisions that a trader would look at, and then having the addition of the DAO to incorporate our sentiment analysis, which would be external to the data that is being fed into the model.
Using any news feeds or any sort of analysis outside of just pure charting to make these decisions?
Yeah, that's and again, that's what we'd have to rely on the DAO on. It's hard to have sentiment analysis is very new. So APIs for that is very hard to get. I know ChatGPT, even if you look at ChatGPT, I think their data stops at like 2021, and they're a natural language AI. Having a constant feed is something that the tech isn't really there yet. So to bridge that gap is having the DAO vote on a bias. Is the AI going to be biased long? Is it going to be biased short, or is it going to be neutral? Right.
Worried, actually, we should go into this a little bit. Because you're going to have a DAO, a group in the DAO that's making these decisions, that it's going to actually affect the trading choices
Mm-hmm.
of the network. About the DAO members maybe acting as opposing parties. Maybe they want the neural network to fail, and maybe they have a sizable voting share. And are you worried about some sort of like there's a dilemma, but some sort uh, of elements where someone comes
Yeah,
in and tries to subvert the protocol?
well, and that's of course nefarious actors are fear of every DAO. And say dYdX also has that fear when it comes to nefarious actors accumulating tokens and trying to take the protocol down. So yes, of course, it's something that keeps us up at night. But by launching quietly, I think that we'd be able to circumvent that. Where most of the people that are here today that have picked up sizable positions will likely stay. Whereas if there are bad actors that want to come out, they'd have to purchase the token, right, to be able to have that power. And so that's something that we can't. DAOs are still struggling to prevent. I haven't seen a DAO that has done that successfully yet. But later on, that's something that the DAO itself will have to decide and be able to govern correctly. So we're all we want to do is we want to set up the backbone for this. We want to set out our framework for the DAO, but as it's a democratic system, we want to give the DAO the power to also protect itself later on.
I'm going to go into some more detail about how the staking is going to work and how the ecosystem,
Of
speaking
course, of course, of course.
kind of all of this.
Yeah, of course. So we'll be releasing more diagrams on the actual ecosystem itself in due course. So the basic idea of it is that in all of the all of the areas that Athena would be working, all the markets that Athena would be doing leverage trading on, would be paid out in either USDC or Ethereum. We didn't want to build something where we're paying out more of our own token instead of just giving people things that are liquid. So what we're going to be doing is having it people stake. It's a what do you call it? It's a weighted staking type of model. So the more you own, the more of the Athena's, we'll call it profits you get, and just kind of a basic staking module. In that way, where they're paying out to the staking, we're paying out to the staking contract, then the users will go in and claim their staking rewards in Ethereum or
Makes
USDC.
sense. Um, so you're gonna have the staking rewards paid out in USDC and Ethereum,
Yep,
and the actual token they would hold that's for your protocol would be the governance token.
yep,
It
NFAi.
also allows people to vote on the direction that the AI is taking.
Exactly. We're
Makes
not trying
sense.
to dilute anything in any way, and the NFI token is the center of the whole ecosystem.
That makes a lot of sense. I guess besides maybe this is the ultimate goal. What is the ultimate goal for the decentralization of the protocol? Is it to have
It's
people contributing to the ecosystem? Is it to kind of just
Yep.
get people established as voters, or
Yeah, it's good. It's honestly we want to hand off the keys. Like that's our it's kind of like our gift we feel to the DeFi space is that if we do this right and our hypothesis is right, we hand it over to the DAO controls it. and there's no locus of control that happens. So that's our hope, is complete decentralization, and that's our goal.
What are you doing right now to incorporate all the real-time market data into your protocol?
So right now we have a few API providers, that provide us kind of real-time price metrics, basically down to the second. So we've used a couple during the experiment phase, so we're just going down to one, of course. And you have to balance, of course, cost, but also the what do you call it? The quality of the data is very, very important. And based on that, we're adding other layers. We can't exactly say what we're adding, but we can talk about the price data. That's fine. And that's how the API will kind of play into it, is feeding real time price data in the format that we have set out.
Makes sense. Are you using like Chainlink nodes, or I guess you're talking about API data? Are you using custom providers, or
Yeah, we're using custom providers.
that
We
makes
can't
sense?
reveal the providers, of course, but if you guys are
Cool.
trying to do this yourself, APIs are provided. I think Coinbase has a good one. TradingView has a good one. If you're going to do this, we're not the type of team that is afraid of people doing this. We're actually trying to encourage other teams out there who there might be someone listening who's like, man, I could do this better. Go out there, get up and do it. And if you
This is kind of a
just
good
want to,
segue.
yeah, go for
Is
it.
there any sort of competition for this besides the on-chain competition? Is there like a place where someone can go and compete with you to see whose neural network is actually more in tune with the market, or more
Yeah, of course.
accurate in their trading?
Of course. I mean, you guys have a really good ranking system, so I would encourage anyone, try it. dYdX, meet us there. We'll see you on the other side of the trade. I won't mention any of your competitors on this call, but there are other places out there that we will be too, and we'll reveal that later. But yeah, we want this type of technology to be better, and so we're getting the ball rolling. We've heard of other teams who've said that after we launch, of course, the copycats and whatnot. Any of those that are listening, please try. And if you would like to share research, absolutely. We're taking an academic approach to this, and we think that's the best way to do this.
Difficult was it to actually create, adjust, and fine tune your neural network model?
Extremely difficult. We've
Yeah.
been at this for a year. I mean, I couldn't even tell you the amount of hours that I've personally spent just fine tuning, and the amount there's a lot of work to be done, just to get this ready and to get this right. As we don't want to, we you get one shot at releasing something like this, and we want to do it right. And so, but yeah, I mean, the first time, I'll tell you right now, the first time I think I personally tried, and then started looking at the idea a bit more. I think I got like 34% accuracy, which is worse than flipping a coin. And so, I then
Yeah.
afterwards, we just kind of kept going and kept, making our goals and executing them. On the street, if you're in a hedge fund shop, 65% is usually 65% is usually the threshold before an algo is okay to go in the equity side. We don't have that luxury. We're not rich enough that we can put out, say, 20 algos out there and hope 60% of them are fine, so we can make profits in that way. But we have to do it once, and we have to do it right. So the neural net gives us the best shot at that.
Like I'm really big into the technology side of this, and
Mhm.
I I think things like this are basically the way forward. Machine
Yeah.
learning, I know nets. Are you using any? Did you use a GAN, which is a generative adversarial network, to really kind of fine tune your model, or did you just kind of go with one network?
No, so we have it. So right now we our kind of like MVP was like a couple different coding languages, a couple different APIs, a couple different data sets, and then we were just continuously testing and choosing the best code language, best parameters, all of that. So we made a decision now, and so we're basically streamlining everything. One code, one API provider, et cetera, UI, UX for public facing and back test, back or sorry, internal facing. So it's right now it's just kind of the optimization and getting it market ready.
That makes sense. And this is another kind of tough question.
Mm.
As you know, if you trade for a while, no one strategy works all the time forever.
Yep.
Oh, does the model have the ability to use different strategy in different situations, or kind of really adapt to the changing market conditions?
After absolutely. So we what we've done, we kind of covered our bases by going with kind of like 30 inputs at this point. So if there is a priority level that is, if something, for instance, falls out, say for instance, we get to a point in life, don't know if it will happen, where RSI just doesn't work anymore, for instance, and everything based on RSI doesn't work. Priority levels can be set to zero on stuff like that. And then we're left with 29 other different, or well, I can't say the exact number that have RSI in a calculation,
Yeah.
but we'll say this one, it goes down to 29. Now we have 29 other things that are sharing the priority scores. So that's the advantage of a neural network as opposed to say like a machine learning pure code, because excuse me, say we put in again a machine learning feed into one of the input nodes. If that one starts to be, algo blows up because we put a high priority level a little bit too high, then Athena's supposed to go, okay, this didn't work. We're going to take this out and or lower the priority level until it hits zero, and that just keeps going on and on and on.
And like the cool thing about this is almost that you probably don't know exactly how everything is functioning because it is, a neural network, and neural networks aren't really as straightforward
Yep.
as some other big database modeling.
Exactly.
So,
It's not.
yeah,
It's and you know what I mean. The one thing I always laugh about is like we in our testing, with humans doing the wrench turning, we were able to hit like 83 or 84% once. It was I was like, man, like, or did we overfit whatnot? But we got that once. But the academic studies using just a pure AI, we're able to hit 90, like nothing, way over 90. We've been averaging, I'd say, between I'd say like 70 to 80 max. I'd say we're comfortable around 75%, but or 0.75, depending on how you like to talk about confidence scores. But it just shows the gap in human error. We're looking like maybe 10%. We got the best that we could do, hours, a year of work, and we are still 10% shy of what the AI is able to do once we're fully done. And so, that was on the academic side, right? So
I
we want
mean,
to see if we, it's huge, it's huge.
in like in a meta sense, this is these type of data sets, not this per se, like specifically, but
Hmm.
in general, these type of data sets are going to take over everything, like
Exactly, they are.
realistically.
And they
Yeah,
have in the equities market. If you look at BlackRock Aladdin, I mean, Aladdin owns trillions, is running an AUM
it's
of
the
like
market. It
trillions,
runs the market 100%.
runs the market, exactly. And we were trying to
Yep,
do this
yep.
before they already probably are pointed towards crypto. We've seen them. You can tell the institutional candles. You know how to look for them. But it would be
Said
cool
over
to
like the
have.
last 2 weeks or 3 weeks that they've seen a lot of like hedge funds types getting into the
Yep,
markets,
yep,
and you can really tell because of the way they react to the news. They react a lot, like even people
exactly,
who've been in the market for years and are like news traders. These people are
exactly,
reacting a lot more quickly to all the news
exactly.
than yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So this gives DeFi a fighting chance if we, not just us doing this, but also other teams doing this. We think it's pretty unfair when hedge funds are winning in the crypto space, because that goes against I would say the values of cryptocurrency. And so if we're able to kind of band together and create things like this, whether it's neural nets, whether it's just machine learning, whatever it is, and share through a DAO, whatever positive results that we can get, I think we're going to get a lot further in the crypto space.
That sense. I'm looking forward to it. I guess a couple more questions. How do you use
Yeah.
dYdX to improve and evolve your trading protocol, or is it just kind of a nice place to trade, or is there any tool set or any sort of feature that really helps you do what you're trying to do?
Yeah, it's our favorite place to trade, honestly. That's why we reach out. Why That's why we're here. That's why we focused our experiment on it. It's honestly the back end, the fact that you guys have like a rich, very very rich documentation for algo traders on exactly how you want your syntax to be, exactly what is allowed, what isn't. You guys have made an effort to provide the market with that we haven't seen elsewhere. So that's why we've had the best and easiest, I'd say, experiments on the dYdX protocol compared to anywhere else.
Pretty good with the text, and they really like to focus on the engineering.
Exactly, exactly.
To kind of wrap it up a little bit, can you give an example of like one of your more successful trades that you made using your protocol in the past?
Yeah, of course. I'd say the biggest one was a pretty good long trade over that last 7 day live. It was kind of a long stop, long stop, long stop kind of trade that rode up that last little nice trend that we had was kind of hit the algo kind of hit the uptrend a couple hours before, which was really cool. So I kind of personally woke up, checked the dash. I was like, holy shit, we're up a lot. But
Awesome.
that we did a small amount of money. If we had put in our launch money, we'd be laughing. But that can also go the other way. We know how we're all traders. We understand how this works. You can be up one day, you can be down. Algos can blow up, et cetera, et cetera. So we're very balanced. We love to of course celebrate our wins, but the reason why we want to have our public facing dashboard too is we want everyone to see when we lose too, right? We want to keep everything completely transparent, no hiding of any results.
You know,
Uh,
sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Exactly.
Um,
Sunlight is the best disinfectant.
oh, I guess
Sorry,
what
Mike. I
can
didn't mean
dYdX
to interrupt
do
what
in
you meant.
V4 or maybe 4v4 to help you guys? Like, what are you looking for in the next iteration of the protocol?
Yeah, of course. So I'd say one thing that we do it does keep us up at night is we understand that you guys are moving over on V4, I think to Cosmos. We want to make sure that as we're building kind of like the back end for the algo side is similar, if there to be updates beforehand, so we could get our parameters and our syntax kind of fixed. So I don't know what changes are happening in the background there on the engineering side, but we'd love
To be
to maybe
honest,
have an update.
yeah, you have some time,
Hmm.
and there will be a test in that, and it's probably going to be a live test in that where they have live trading.
Okay.
And knowing the team, they're probably going to put out a full API resource for people who need
Okay.
to transition from V3 to V4.
Okay.
I would say, like in general, our API traders, our algo traders, are kind of like we do very much consider everybody in that group, and our front end traders.
Hmm.
Basically, they can move over without any issue, but we're really going to make a
Hmm.
point of making sure our algo and API traders are taken care of
Of course, of
that point,
course.
or when we get closer to that point.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, we'll be keeping our eyes peeled for that.
But and I guess we can take some questions now. I know Oren Whale had a question for you guys.
Who's
Of
Oren
course.
Whale?
Can you hear me right now?
Hear you.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Hey
Oren, how's
guys,
it going?
Hey, Oren.
good. Hey, I have no questions. I just want to say how bullish I am on this project, and the process that you did from the beginning is really amazing for me. And just want to tell you, really good job.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your continued support, man.
There's no problem.
Very cool.
Um,
Um,
Micah,
yeah,
may I
yeah,
interrupt? It's one of those times when you're sitting there listening to two people just have an absolute cracking conversation. You just don't want to jump in because, it's I mean, it's incredible to hear Bumbleclad. I mean, the guy is an absolute genius, and it just every time I sit here and listen and in the AMAs and everything, which we back and forward with questions, it just blows my mind at the depth that these guys have gone into, and it's good. I mean, you're in a lot of understanding in this, which is quite nice, and a lot of the listeners and things like that. So there's a few things I did want to add as well. We mentioned earlier about the example of successful trade, and then Bumber, of course, mentioned throwing which he said in his own words, the war chest at it, and what kind of results they would have had. Bumber, can you just repeat exactly what you said to that? If you can't remember, I do have that, but if you threw in the war chest originally, which I believe was 300,000, what the outcome would have been on that?
Yeah. If we put the war chest at given the same leverage parameters, it was like an average of 50 to 20 times leverage. So at the max of 20 times, just to make the math really easy, 300K, 20x leverage would have been a result $6 million position. We would have pulled out if at a 6x $36 million position. If we're going to keep the math real
oh,
simple. So against I guess our current market cap is like what I want to say it's still hovering between 3.5 and 4 million. So
Hmm.
if we were, at this point without a staking protocol, our orders are to buy and burn most of that. So that would have skyrocketed our price if we'd done it week one, which I kind of wish we did. But risk management made sure I didn't.
Yeah, and I think also you mentioned layering the capital into it, where you will putting in 10%, test for a week, and then test again, 10%, test again, 10%. This way, you're obviously doing it wisely, which is something we spoke about before. But the
Exactly.
volume that this is going to create is just absolutely phenomenal, which brings me back to the question earlier, which was about NFAi's teamwork with dYdX. And you explained why we want to do that. I just want to mention as well to you, Micah, is how excited the team are to actually work with dYdX. I think of all the decentralized exchanges, this is certainly the one that's been chosen for a reason, which Bumba cleared up before. But I just wanted to say how exciting and excited we are in order to do that. And I think we'd love to work a lot closer with the team, of course, moving forward, because we're certainly going to bring in some volume, and hopefully, obviously that works for both teams as well, which I think is quite cool.
The team also is really excited to see people pursuing things like this on the protocol.
Sure.
This is like the next iteration, and like this is kind of like the next level of what needs to happen for DeFi and even dYdX as a protocol and as an ecosystem to really kind of cement the industry as a real player in the macro markets,
Mhm.
because it's great to have retail, it's great to have even marketers, etc. But really getting the high efficiency traders like yourself on board is kind of like the next iterative step to any really fully fledged financial market. So we're really happy to see you on here.
No, of course, and I mean, just for everyone listening, one cool stat that I had is with I think we were testing around. We used a maximum of 10K in each of our tests, but our average volume, we were hitting a 30-day volume on max 10K leveraged. It was like 30 million in volume on just a couple grand, right? So with a higher position size, taking these trades, we could hit hundreds of millions and even more, hopefully as we grow.
Yeah, and
So
like
Absolutely.
good, every exchange wants more volume, and that's our hope is to be able to provide dYdX with a lot more volume.
sure.
dYdX loves more volume, so that's awesome. Really happy to hear that.
I've seen the posts that you guys are putting on Twitter about how much volume you've been putting out. So it's obviously something that you're very focused on. And again, this is only small scale at the moment. It's testing, if anything. Once this is in full scale and it's working, which there's no doubt in my mind, and of course Bumpers prove that this will create incredible volume. I'm sure you'll be posting far more money on the Twitter, which will be pretty exciting. Also,
Number tweets.
there's a couple of questions.
Everybody likes the big number tweets.
They do, man. They do. Absolutely brings
They
people
do
in. But
really.
I mean,
Yeah.
all that does is just shows what kind of company and what kind of business you run. It is from again from a perspective of an investor, when companies are dealing with that kind of money, that you're dealing with someone that's really serious and trusted, and a lot of people are obviously going over there, and all it's doing is bringing more exposure to the exchange as well, because it is a slightly flooded market in some respects. There are a few outstanding versions of it, as you guys are yourself, but certainly not only does it bring volume, but it certainly brings exposure. And I mean, NFA, as you said, Bumba, it's a week old, I think,
Mhm.
so far, and we haven't even, the name isn't even out there yet. I mean, ultimately, it's a crypto world. It starts very small, and then it grows and grows and grows. And as the project is more solid, I mean, I think we were sitting on 3,000 uh, um, social likes, followers, if you like. Whereas I had a look today, actually, I think we've increased to 2,091 Telegram, just under 1,600 Twitters, 408 members in Discord, which has only been open a couple of days, I think, at best, which is about 25% growth in just the last 5 days since we last looked at 3,000. You put this forward when Athena's at full scale,
Mhm.
and people are knowing and hearing and everything about that. That's just going to go through the roof. So the exposure to dYdX and the volume, and these guys have chosen dYdX first, so if the relationship is brilliant, which it will be, and everything's good, it's just going to be absolutely pumping, it's really, really exciting. So that's just my little part about that thing. So
Yeah, that's
a
really
couple of
cool.
questions. This is a couple of questions that we've been asked by the community, which I wouldn't mind sharing with on the chat if we've got time. Michael, is that okay to do that?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sure. Couple of things actually, if you don't mind, and I do tend to talk a lot, so it's probably a good thing I shut up for the first 10 minutes. Um, we've we did only open Discord as it was a couple of days ago, and there's a few really good comments actually, which I went through a lot. There's a lot on there, and there's a few comments that I went through actually, and when you're in a Telegram, there's just so much clutter of absolute rubbish, and this is why, of course, the guys have chosen to go with Discord. Can you hear me okay? I can hear some clicking. Is that
Please go ahead.
yeah? Sorry. Um, anyway, so a few things that have a few comments. I had one of the guys said that I've been in crypto since 2017. Never have I ever thought I'd be so early in a project before it actually begins. Um, Someone else said as well, I'm in the same boat. The deal is that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to involve myself in an experiment that's never been done before. A community-owned hedge fund was not possible before blockchain, and add AI to the mix. I mean, Chat GPT, GTP, GPT, is an absolute blow-away. This just, as Bamba said, amplifies that and puts it into trading. So, you can only imagine what Athena's going to achieve as well. So, one last comment of which I will mention is someone did say, I only hold now dYdX, SHIB, and NFAi. What a coincidence, that just made me lol a little,
That's pretty
which is
cool,
brilliant.
actually.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm not
Bamba, do
supposed
you?
to talk about the token because like I work on the trading side, and
Sorry,
it's
sorry.
still
That
warm.
is
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just I'm you're not in the wrong. But hey, I was gonna say it still warms my heart to know that people are like actually believing in the protocol and then also believing in the ancillary protocol or other protocols that are tied into the ecosystem and working to
sure.
kind of make the whole thing more powerful. So that's really really cool.
Yeah, it's lovely to see. Thanks for those comments, man.
Yeah, shot of good questions at us. The first question he asked was, Bumper, how widespread is the use of AI in trading and financial tech?
It's very, very widespread. Other than now individual teams or individuals using it themselves, it's been around in the equities and debt capital market sector. I think since the early '90s, and so it's very, very well researched, very, very well used, and it's not something that many people know actually exists. But these shops pull in trillions of dollars a year doing stuff like this, and it's pretty interesting that within the crypto space, it's not as prevalent, not yet.
Thank you for that. Toshi asked, and you've covered a little bit of this, but I'm going to ask you again because the last part of the question I don't think we've covered. But what type of technical analysis is included in your algo and neural network, and does it include Elliott wave analysis and any other type of TA you can disclose?
I'm going to say that we can't disclose exactly what we use, but I'd say we have over 30 indicators. So 30 indicators, 30 different feeds. We've got, and again, this includes machine learning feeds and whatnot. I would say that we covered a lot, and we tried everything, and we took out some things that we found that weren't working. And it's an ongoing process, but we can't tell you the secret sauce. Sorry, man.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just asking. I'm the middleman here, of course. So, and another one, which I think you said was quite interesting. Why the name, not financial advice? I've never even asked you that. I mean, I know in this industry, NFA is a big, it's something we all use. Why did you choose to use that?
I like the fact that it was, of course, tongue in cheek, great for marketing, but also, just can be transformed into a mathematical operator. We love that. We love that idea, and that's why we went with it.
Nice. And will Athena trade other coins other than ETH or Bitcoin? Again, reading this straight from here, is there a particular type of currency that you'll be trading?
Uh, yeah, we're sticking. We're prioritizing ETH USD right now, but we do ETH USD and BTC USD. The problem is that when it comes to anything that we're hoping we're going to be moving a little bit of size, liquidity in the market is very very important to avoid liquidation. So when you're doing any sort of leverage trading, tend to avoid the altcoins space just because a lot of them don't have the liquidity in any protocol that we're looking at compared to ETH and BTC, the top two, right? So we're trying to stay in high liquid markets here, high liquidity markets. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, that's a really good answer actually. And of the questions, they were the ones that I picked out that were probably the best, I think, unless you found anything else that was on there. So listen, thanks for answering all those, Bumba. Back to you,
I
Mike, if
actually
there's
have one more
anything you.
question.
Yeah.
Comparative to something like Aladdin, how sophisticated is Athena? How, in your opinion, how close to something like Aladdin are you? And how much closer do you think you can get if you have another a year, 2 years, etc.?
Honestly, something like Athena, or sorry, something like Aladdin is that's the big dog. That is that's they've got trillions of dollars feeding in market data from um, thousands of different sectors, whether it's country data, whether it's product space, whether it's debt capital markets, equity capital markets. That's a whole different beast, and we're just a young, small team, and of course we can dream and hope that we can get to that level, but we're specifically focusing on one sector. These guys, they include crypto, but they're
Yeah.
doing equities, debt, everything. So we'll never. I don't think we can get to that level where we're just
I mean,
an
I'm asking because
overarching.
that's like
Yeah,
the
that's
penultimate, basically.
exactly exactly
Yeah.
that would be nice, but we try to keep it very transparent and honest here. Like that's we I don't think that we can do what they've done in since the 90s in a year, right?
Yeah, and just to clarify for everybody here, Aladdin is basically a Google quantum computer level type of computer that is running market analysis for decades. And it's run by the most powerful marketers in the or marketing firm in the world, and it's able to make salient decision. It works basically within all financial instruments, any major financial instruments, and it's responsible for a lot of the macro decisions. And it is definitely one of the serious market influencers before people are making their own decisions. It's really amazing. A little bit unknown. Yeah. Okay, one last question, and this is kind of a oddball question. How many failed iterations of the model did you go through until you hit success?
Like hundreds. Like I couldn't even tell you how many times I've like the reason we even chose the name Athena is like that was the name of the last iteration. I've had many other names like because I like yelling at my bots if they blow up. And yeah, it's we've got there were tons of things that we went through and just didn't work. We just kept pushing through.
Like when you like, what happened when you realized, oh shoot, this one's working? Like, what did you? Was it like you didn't believe it was gonna work, and just hit another one? And what was that
Yeah, that's
moment where you're like, holy, 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 holy mackerel, we did this?
Yeah, exactly. Any quant knows you're the biggest thing that you worry about is overfit, right? So you go and you're like, okay, backtest is showing over. I think that when we hit over 60%, I think that's when it's happened. We're like, okay, we're over 60%, cool. Okay, street 65. Okay, we beat 65. Cool. Now we're at 70. Okay, this is kind of are we overfitting? Okay, it's time to go live. It's time to test live, and that's when we kind of started our live tests. So our process is backtest to a certain threshold, then we run the lives and we review. So but when that first happened, I mean, it was a very, very happy day.
Very cool. I'm glad to see you guys came to success in the end. I know it's a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat equity on your end to get to this point. I'm excited to see where you guys go in the future. Also, thank you very much for being here today and kind of sharing with everybody what you're doing and how you're doing it. It's really important. And be sure we'll touch base on the back end a little bit more, and maybe get you some more conversations with the team to figure out how they can help you, and you can kind of help the protocol going forward, because what you're doing is very important, not only for dYdX, but I think the whole decentralized trading space.
Of course, and we do appreciate the time for that you've given for us, and having us in the town hall. We have high respect for not just you guys, but also your supporters, and very very smart room. So we're very, very happy to be here, and yeah, we look forward to having further conversations and how we could kind of partner in the future.
Great. If nobody has any more questions, we're going to wrap this up here. We've been talking with NFAi labs on machine learning, and more importantly and more specifically, neural networks used in trading for swing trading on decentralized protocols. I don't think so. I think we're all good. Gentlemen, thank you again so much. This has been a pleasure, and I really appreciate it, because I had a lot of, I was really curious about what you do and how you do it, and this helps kind of clear up some of the concerns. Please send me the more information so I can kind of read through the papers a little bit more and kind of figure out more what you're doing on the back end, because it's super, super interesting. And I think this is the future, basically.
Sure.
Of course, of course. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you both. Everybody
Marty,
have a
you're
great
amazing.
evening.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Have a great evening, and this has been another Trading Spaces, and we'll catch you next week. Thank you all.
Thank you, El.
Thank you all. Take care.